That's so true.
Yeah.
Nowhere to hide and lock into.
Yeah. Which one are you talking about? Laptop or? All right, let's get it. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets podcast.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on, fellas. It's been a good week.
It's been a great week.
It's been a long week. I've never been an air hornsman.
You really never have been.
I've never been an air hornsman.
Never have. We are presented by Bet365, Never Ordinary. Download Bet365, use the promo code DNVR365 and find out why. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We're also in the Toyota Lounge, boys.
Beep beep.
So roomy in here.
I know, dude. Leg room.
It's like one of their SUVs or something,
Really is,
man. There's a
man.
lot of room, a lot of comfort.
Driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We're going to talk a little hangover takes. We're going to break down. We're going to play and stop and comment on Calvin Booth's comments. Because Calvin Booth, say what you want about him, he talks, he lets you know what he's thinking.
He'll tell you.
Yeah. So we're going to break it down, all of our thoughts about it. We're also going to talk about what's on the menu for the Nuggets. They've had a lot of test items, but now you got to make your menu, you got to cull it down a little. We're going to do that, and we'll talk about the All-Star game. Look at the shirt the man brought in today. A little Duck Hunter episode.
I mean, come on, guys. 67 degrees. Like, are you guys not feeling it today? I don't know. I'm just feeling it today. Although I do want to use my time to ask Eric what that hat is, because I think it's great.
He's worn this a lot.
Oh, has he? Can you tell me again?
Yeah, it's for the emperor, the Rome emperors. It's a
Roman Empire, you mean?
nope. It's the city of Rome in Georgia. The Emperors is the name of the minor league baseball team.
Gotcha.
So they have a penguin.
Wonderful branding, A+ by them.
I couldn't agree more.
Gotcha.
Over here is D-Line.
It's the Rome Emperors and
Oh, yeah, no, now it's your turn.
Out of Georgia, AAA.
yeah, guys, look,
there
I'm
it
doing
is.
this for Adam.
Thanks, buddy.
He wants my enthusiasm. I'll oblige.
There, thanks, man. Rounding out the show, last but not least, Harrison Wynn.
I gotta say, vote after a big MPJ game is 10 out of 10 on like the vibes meter.
Listen, it's
You
a
are
nice
hyped
morning.
right now.
Listen, it's a nice morning, guys. 5 wins in a row, 5 losses in a row for Houston. I don't know if anyone checked the standings.
I did check him.
And as if things couldn't get better, well, I'll tell you guys about the Tom Cruise news later. Sorry.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah, he's
Is
hanging
there
out
really
of an
some
airplane.
Tom Cruise?
I mean, there's another movie coming out this year, and guys, he's hanging off another airplane. I don't know.
I gotta
stop.
get into Scientology, man.
You got to do it, man. We're gonna start how we always do. We're not gonna give a full segment to this, but Vote wasn't here. He is an MBJ's man. Let's go to the hangover, shall we?
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's have ourselves a little mini hangover. I'll let you start. Vote. Last night you gave us a little bit of your takes, but takes on the game. You were at the arena 2 games in a row.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, at risk of repeating what you guys said, I did miss it. Went home and wrote.
We actually didn't talk about MPJ at all.
At all.
Yeah.
No.
Didn't come up.
It's funny. I was going to go to Aaron Gordon, who I thought
Didn't come up
I
much.
actually genuinely thought it was a really encouraging game
Yeah.
for Aaron Gordon. That's a real take that I have, especially because it started with that great whip pass from Jokic and Gordon gets blocked. And I'm kind of sitting there on press row thinking to myself, man, he just doesn't have it right now.
Yeah.
And then he just did a bunch of quintessential Aaron Gordon things from there on out. And I even thought it was a big part of Jokic's game of just kind of navigating a tough, packed defense. When am I going to pass to Aaron Gordon? What does it look like? So that was fun because that was some real traditional Nugget stuff. And of course, the Michael Porter part of it was awesome. The angle for me, though, guys, was just that this is different than the Pelicans. And there's important context. The Magic are on their 4th game in 5 nights, 2nd night of a back-to-back, on the road, missing Jalen Suggs. This all matters, man.
And lost 10 of their last
and
13.
they've sucked.
I understand, guys, but
They've been actually worse than the Pelicans.
I'm not talking about winning the game, though, right? They have the 3rd best defense in the league. And the Nuggets were also on their 4th game in 5 nights. And they were also on the back-to-back, and they didn't have their 2 point guards. And the game plan, as Michael Malone concurred after the game, was to stop Michael Porter Jr. And typically, Mike struggles there. So this take is not about reveling in the night. It's about keying in on an important area of improvement. How does Mike play against physical defenses that want to stop him?
Yeah.
And that was their plan last night. And Mike was able to score anyway. So that's important because in the past, he hasn't always been able to do that. It's 3 games. the Magic do stink, but they play great defense, man. And so that was different to me than the Pelicans games. Porter kind of, more importantly, guys, he thought his way through that one. Talked about it after the game. He said, I tried to set them up based off how they guarded me. I wanted to slip a lot. Then I started working in the threes, and as I went through the footage, you could see it, man. He was thinking through the game a bit more than he usually does. Does this mean that Mike has rounded into an all-star? Almost certainly not. But is it an area of improvement that we'd like to see? Yes, I think so. So hopefully he can keep this going against more stout defenses, which is obviously the next box he needs to check.
The fighting through, being aggressive, all those different things are great. The thing I love is he's just shooting the mics again. Those had kind of left him. They've been beaten out of him, so to speak, in his role. And even after the game, he talked about when Murray comes back, I might have to scale it down a little bit.
Yep.
Which I both love and hate, in equal measure. But the no conscious, just let it rip. He's for 3 games in a row. It felt like he's had 3 or 4 of those, and I just miss him because I feel like when he makes them, they're worth 8.
Oh yeah, I mean this was like we got some mics from 2019.
Yeah, totally.
Like back when he was just letting it fly.
Yeah,
and was only getting like a few minutes every game to do it. He's scaled it back. He takes great shots almost every time down. He won't take a bad shot usually. So it was cool to see like his confidence in those types of shots really show last night.
Yeah, for me, watching the game in general, I felt that weight off of the team. Like the team felt like they weren't thinking about the trade deadline. Like they know that they're there. Pretty much everybody had a great night, with the exception at certain points of Julian Strawther just trying to be a point guard when he's not a point guard.
Oh, he wasn't just that. I don't think he was the one guy just didn't. Have
He was the one. Yes, he was the one guy that whatever, but. Point being, like, there was just, I don't know, there was a freeness to the way that the Nuggets were playing. Like, it was just kind of like everything was clicking. Hunter Tyson was in there. Zeke Naji is, like, completely unchained.
He's a player.
At a certain point, I was like, dude, scale it back. Like, calm down, dude. Like, it's like you've got to the point where you, like, be a little bit more scared again to take shots. Like,
one of these things is not like the others. Miles Bridges, Zion Williamson, Paolo. These are not easy assignments, man.
True.
These are not easy assignments. And I don't think, the best part, as I said on the show, Eric, was this wasn't just, hey, everyone, look how good Zeke's been. The trade deadline's gone. But Malone went to that line anyway. And I think right now Malone is kind of in his bag of trying to encourage these guys.
This is a huge take for me, actually. And this is a chicken and egg scenario. Malone is a tough love guy. You kind of got to earn it. But I think he's also has his guys and has his guys he doesn't like. And I've always said this, and I've said it about Zeke. I've said it about Pickett, Michael Porter for a while, even Peyton Watson, that there is a button to play of you have to earn my trust and you need to work hard and run through a wall. But there's also going too far with that where a guy just feels like a coach doesn't have his back. And I think that Malone, over the last couple weeks, maybe it's been a month, I don't really know, but he's been going out of his way to praise Jalen Pickett. When he talks about Jalen Pickett now, he's like, every minute he's played this year, he's been great. Not like he's starting to play better this year. He's like, every minute he's done, he's played great. Yeah. Zeke Naji, definitely not true, but he's like out here hyping him up. And so is it that those guys have earned his trust and he's hyping him up, or he is softening his approach to know what those guys need is opportunity and confidence. And opportunity I can't always give them. Right now they get it. But confidence is something that I have to set the table. I think it's a little bit of both. It's a chicken and egg situation. But I actually think it's very important that he's giving confidence to those guys and they're starting to perform at an all-time best, the best basketball they have played in their careers.
And Malone doesn't miss those moments, those opportunities. He senses them. And listen, man, I said it on the show. Really stark juxtaposition with the presser we had before the game. Look, Calvin Booth is not the head coach, so it's just different. But some names were named. The vibes were low, right? It was. We can get to it.
No. What I'm going to say is Malone. Zeke's been there 4 years. He's been hard as hell on him.
I understand.
So he's been good on him for 2 weeks. So I don't think he always knows the moment. I think there's been a lot of moments to try to give him confidence.
There's also been a lot of moments where Zeke hasn't played well. It does go both ways. But I think what happened is there's a lot of trade deadline anxiety, and Booth gave a presser that was very honest, and I don't think the quotes made the fans feel better. Some guys were named, vibes were low, particularly Julian Strawther. He gets the start. He doesn't play well. Malone's biggest quote of the night was all about how Julian's going to get better and he's going to help him get there. I maybe it's not always.
We
Maybe
also watched him. I mean, here's why I'm pushing back, because we also watched Jalen Pickett at Summer League struggling, and Michael Malone, the loudest vocal critic in the building, throwing his hands up and doing this. Like, can you see this guy?
You're right. Not always. But he's doing it now. And
And I mean, Malone played Zeke out of position the last 2 years also. Like, that's a thing as well.
Well,
But
were there backup centers to play guys that were good options? Probably not. So some of that's on Booth as well. But my point, whether maybe I misspoke with I misspoke with always guys, but I don't even really care about that. The point is he's doing it now. The point is he's doing it now, Adam, and he is sensing this opportunity. And it was a very, very. I think you go from where the vibes were to you get a big win. And a lot of these guys were involved, and Malone played some of those notes as he does sometimes. And I just thought it was well played by Malone. Has he gotten it right all the time? No, I misspoke. But is he getting it right now? I thought last night he did. So that's my point.
I agree that he is getting it right now. The reason I'm pushing back on this so hard is, to me, it has been the biggest thing. When I said, like, it's first Summer League, I'm like, I like Jalen Pickett a lot. We get into the preseason of that first season, his rookie year, and I was like, I don't know if it's going to work out. Because you can clearly see, man, this guy is beating this guy down. So this is the reason I'm pushing back on this is I really believe a coach's confidence in a player is essential, or almost essential. Some people can't overcome it, but is almost essential. And I don't think he has been that to Zeke or to Pickett or to Peyton.
You're right.
Or
You're
even
right.
for large stretches, Michael Porter. And recently he has, and these guys are playing better. So the timing of it is important to me.
Yes.
Well, to me, this is how he goes about it. His business always. He never praises. He always tears a guy down until he has the opportunity to build him up, because it is the idea of the salty with the sweet. Like, if you're just nice to the guy the whole time, it doesn't mean as much. If he starts heaping praise on you, you're like, well, that's just kind of his way. But if it's in contrast to the way that he has been talking about him in the past, it's like, man, this feels great. Like, and that's what Malone does. We saw him do this with Michael Porter for a very long time, where he would.
Still kind of does.
He does all the time, but all the same is like, then when it's time to turn it on, like he becomes effusive with the praise, and it's just a psychological way to manage players and go about, especially professionals. That it's just this is his MO.
But I don't think he's done that for Julian Strawther, for example, who was in the competition for the starting shooting guard somehow. Despite the fact that was clearly never should have been. And yet he was like, well, Julian, maybe, this, that. And get long leash, it plays horrible, gets minutes.
Right. You're right.
So,
it's a zag from his past approaches.
And I'm saying there are some players that are here, some players that are over here. But right now I do think that, and it started maybe a month ago, that Michael Malone seems to be trying to inject confidence and happiness into his group. And that tells me there probably is a real lack of that behind the scenes.
Sure.
And he senses it like, okay, we are way too over here. I got to come over here.
I mean, I think that's been obvious with the way that the season has gone. There's been injuries. There's been, just rampant
Tensions.
speculation about trades. People, the Nuggets are probably the most unsettled that they've been. Not that they are. You look at like the Suns. You look at other teams that are actually
worse.
Unsettled. It's like the Nuggets really don't have a lot of drama, but for their standards, like, they've always just been moving up, and now they are not. Like, this is the first time that they moved backwards this last offseason. And so,
but now they're settled. Now
Yes.
this is the team.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
maybe they waive somebody or something. I don't know, but this is probably going to be the team the rest of the season. So maybe it's some of that too from Malone. It's like, all right, these are the guys.
Right.
Might as well get behind them because I'm stuck with them.
Yeah.
Which to Adam's point, though, is you're right. It is different than the way he used to operate. And part of it is Booth is he hasn't budged a ton. Here's what you have to work with. And so I guess rather than saying he's always gets this right, because you're right, he hasn't. What I'm sensing right now is just him embracing it.
Yep, I
And
agree.
so I did find the juxtaposition with the Booth presser stark. Not that I think, of course, they have different perspectives on it. It's just, I think Malone sensed a moment to kind of like really be a coach and sink his teeth into it. And I thought he did a good job with it. And hopefully it's an important point in the season going forward is all.
All right, let's take our first break. On the other side, we're going to break down Calvin Booth's comments because he revealed quite a bit, I feel, about how he thinks and feels about the team. So we're going to get into that on the other side.
How about Live Well, where there's 25 convenient locations? I love Live Well because one of those convenient locations is particularly convenient to me. It's right outside my house. It's right there. And you can get 25% off with code DNVR25. And when you get 25% off, you're going to get 25% off of one regular priced item, but that can be any item, including an ounce, if you'd like to buy in bulk and take advantage of the fact that you are buying from a dispensary from professionals and not the way folks maybe used to. Well, no one ever would have. You get what I'm saying. It's different now. And when you talk to these people, they know what they're talking about, particularly the strains in-house. So if you tried it last time, it was almost working for you, but you got a little anxious. What does Malone like to say, guys? You got to know why you win and lose in this league, right? Something like that. Just ask your bud tender, man. Maybe you can figure out a better strain that works for you.
What a perfect analogy.
Right? Mention the DNVR 25 in store and receive 25% off one of those amazing products today. Live well. Restrictions do apply.
Let's go. You got
Also,
me. I want to run through a wall and live well.
Man, let's go. Also, shout out to our friends at Miller Lite. It's always Miller time here at DNVR. Miller Lite, the beer perfect for any occasion with the taste that you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks with Miller Lite, just great beer for people who like beer. That's the thing with Miller Lite. A lot of those light beers out there taste like water. They don't taste like beer. Miller Lite, it tastes like beer.
I'm going to have 15 of them for the Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
That sounds like beer.
It's brewed for taste. That's why it tastes good. Hits different than other light beers. Also, they have simple ingredients. Malted barley for rich, balanced toffee flavors and the iconic golden color. It's just 96 calories. It just has 3.2 grams of carbs per 12 ounces. Miller Time is always a good time, and it's the original light beer too. Since 1975, it's still the best one today. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. MillerLite.com/DNVR. We have our own website with Miller Lite. You can find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite anywhere that sells beer. Tastes like Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, back here, DNVR Nuggets. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to it. Hit the like button to help us out. Kale, you have now. So Calvin Booth did a press conference right after the trade deadline to address the media, which, first of all, most GMs do, but I'm always also just appreciative. There are, the Kings traded De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Or fired Mike Brown. No press conference. No press conference. Just like, hey, you guys sort out what you want. So, no trades are made, still goes to the podium. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
You sort of just walk us through the process of what led you to end up going with no moves today and what you might have been looking at in terms of potential options.
Yeah, I think this trade deadline was a little bit different from the last one. I think we had a little bit more to work with asset-wise. But I think the best way to describe it is we either had to go big or do nothing, right? And we definitely like some guys in the market, and thought we had some traction in a couple different situations, and whether other teams just beat us out with their offers or we just didn't feel like it was the right use of our assets, combination of those things just led us to be where we're at right now. So.
All right, Kale, hold off on that now. So you bring it back in. So first part of the thesis, we were either going to go big or nothing at all.
Yeah.
That might inform the way he's thinking about this team this summer. Like this summer, first of all, go big means that they're going to be open, because if they were open now in the middle of the season, you have to assume in the offseason they'd be open to a big move, a big change, or nothing at all. Meaning, so what do you take from that, Wind?
I mean, I think him saying going big means like Jonas Valanciunas. I don't
Getting a
think
big,
going.
yeah.
You thought I meant go. Yeah.
Not necessarily.
He's
no.
like, we're gonna go big or go guard.
Yeah, we're gonna get a 7-footer. I don't think going big means a Michael Porter trade. I don't think that's what he was inferring.
He
here.
said that, actually.
Hey, later on, he gets to
maybe in the summer the definition of going big changes. But I think for the Nuggets at the deadline, going big was a Valanciunas, a Cody Martin, a Chris Boucher. Because
Chris Boucher would have been big.
I mean, I think he's in that ballpark of those two other guys.
Okay.
And I think he's in
It
that.
probably would have been big in that it would have taken all of their.
A big move. It would have taken a big
all of their
Chris
big
Boucher
war
taking
chest.
all of their war chest is wild to me.
I mean,
He's just
they
Toronto.
you think of
They
their
did
war
Toronto
chest,
swap.
it was Zeke Naji, Dario Saric, and pick swaps. Like, that's what they had to deal.
Yeah, but Boucher is the Zeke Naji of the Raptors. The Raptors are bad.
I mean,
sure.
he's better than Zeke Naji.
Okay.
I think he had more trade value than Zeke Naji.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it also seems like
So
that's
yeah,
what they're.
that's what I think going big meant in at this trade.
So
as well.
small in this instance would have been like Hunter Tyson for David Roddy or something like that. Like where you're
Sure.
trading your.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think real small.
Yeah, real small.
Yeah.
Cash considerations, the old Cronky special. What do we got? Let's keep going.
I know it's always your obligation to continue looking for ways to upgrade, looking for ways to make the team better. Coach Malone was in here saying that he feels very comfortable with the current group. Do you feel comfortable with the current group as it's currently constructed?
Yeah, I think we're going to need health as we're constructed right now. I think overall depth and depth at the backup center would have been questions that we would like to address at the deadline. I think DeAndre has done an admirable job, but he's long in the tooth, and he's been durable, so that's been good. But I think everybody's been surprised about how good he's been, and hopefully he can continue it. But I think adding another piece that coach is comfortable playing there would have been nice. I think Zeke obviously has shown recently something I've known for a while that he's probably should just be best at the 4. So I think as long as Aaron stays healthy, we should be okay at the backup 5, but it is a concern of mine.
All righty, pause it there. D-Line, I'll let you go first here because there's a lot.
Yep. So, well, it's funny. I mean, yes, they definitely wanted a backup 5. I mean, that was clear that a backup 5 has been on their mind the entire time. That's what they drafted. They were really hoping that Duran, the Dayton Fly, no, excuse me, the Mile High Flyer. Jesus. Jeebus.
Nailed it.
Unbelievable. What is going to be the answer at backup 5? But it is funny. It is the Spinal Tap drummer. They cannot get this position right. They're never comfortable.
So true,
They're
man.
always looking for a new guy. DeAndre Jordan has, as Calvin Booth said, has been very admirable and played much better than I think any of us expected. But I'm really surprised they didn't pull a trigger on getting a backup 5. I think that what Harrison has posited is true, is that getting a Chris Boucher would have been amounted to a big move in that they were trying to make it. Like, that's what they see as a big move, is like emptying out all of their, the guys that they drafted. Like, you'd have to give up on prospects to get a guy like that in.
And so now you need health.
Now they need health. And yeah, I think that he is understandably nervous about whether or not they're going to be able to count on DeAndre Jordan at all going into the playoffs, but it's not that likely that he'll really play anyway. I mean, that really just becomes Aaron Gordon's position, like he alluded to. And the other thing that I think that we all picked up on at a certain point was that he says that Zeke Naji is a 4. We all know that he's a 4. We've talked about how he's been a 4, and when he's miscast as a 5, it's just really set him so far back in his career that he has not been playing to the point of becoming essentially a joke in the Nuggets universe.
What do you think of this one, Vote?
It's true. That's the thing. He didn't say anything about DeAndre Jordan that no one hasn't thought to themselves, and that I would wager DeAndre isn't acutely aware of himself. Right? I don't think DeAndre probably came in this year and expected to play every game. Sure, he's happy to. I also bet he's a little tired. So listen, it's part.
I have a theory that he was like, I need a week off or 2 weeks off when they went to the 8-man rotation.
Totally.
Oh, could be.
I
Yeah.
honestly think that may have happened, seriously. Because, and who would blame him is the point. He worked hard to be in shape, but well, Booth said it in the funniest possible way that you're not maybe used to hearing GMs kind of just speak so blatantly about players. DeAndre Jordan is, in fact, old. So that is true. Part of it is, it just seems like kind of knowing that, right? It feels like there were failures in terms of building a better plan. 2 is they did attempt to with Dario Saric, which is an important piece of this, but they whiffed, of course. So it's just kind of like when you hear that, you go, that's all true. But then you go, but yeah, man, he's still playing, and that's unfortunate. And it feels like maybe just perfect GMing would have prevented that. And obviously Dario Saric was not perfect GMing.
Yeah.
And the other little piece I picked up on when he said getting a guy in there that coach feels comfortable playing.
Yeah, of course.
Which has been the issue in the past, is that they bring
McGee,
guys
Thomas
in
Bryant.
and they don't end up getting any playing time. And maybe he feels that way about Sharge right now, that he's not actually getting any playing time. He's like, I don't know what to do. I bring guys in and they don't play. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Think there's something really to that. All right, let's keep going.
having been in and out of the rotation, just on his current contract, how are you guys kind of navigating his future? How are you kind of taking in?
Well, he's here right now, and obviously he's one of the pieces that we're looking at going out there, because you look at our salary sheets and there's only so many contracts outside of our main guys that can go out, so it's pretty easy to figure like what guys were going to go out if we did a trade. So I think he's been playing great lately. Obviously if we'd have made a move, he'd probably been elsewhere, but he's here today, and hopefully keeps on showing what he can do on the basketball court.
Not really a lot here. I mean, obviously, we all knew Zeke Naji was the most likely trade candidate. It is kind of funny that he says, of course, everybody could figure it out. Most people in the media can't figure it out. There's a lot of people in the media that like stop by today for the first time or something, and they're not looking at the salary cap. Whatever.
That's why the DNVR Nuggets podcast
That's why we exist, man.
We had one thing. Like, we have the two most truthful people in the NBA, in the Nikola Jokic and Calvin Booth.
They never lie.
They never lie, whether or not you like. Sometimes I wish Calvin would lie a little bit.
It does make me reflect, guys, on the Tim Connolly pressers where he would speak forever and say nothing. Say absolutely nothing. Yeah. Different approaches.
All right, let's see it.
There are some big moves, both like going to Golden State. How does that change the landscape for the West, and how did that kind of alter maybe what you were thinking about doing?
I just think the league goes in cycles. It's getting bigger. I think having positional integrity, being able to play people at their proper positions, and being big at the five is something I think is important. And obviously, when we have Joker in there, we're like that. And DeAndre, again, he is that size, but it'd be nice to have a legitimate, bigger, younger guy. So I think the size factor in the West is, Sacramento, they ended up with Valanciunas. Obviously, the Lakers did what they did. I mean, the Lakers did what they did with Mark Williams. I was thinking about the Mavs, though. They did what they did with AD, and now they have Lively and Gafford. Minnesota's played big in the past, so a lot of size and length out west. It's going to be a battle in the paint. It's going to be really physical.
I like this. And pause this one here. I like this one because I've always said, have lots of conversation with Cal over the years. I always think he has a very sharp basketball mind. And this one here, we've talked about it a little bit, but the league is getting bigger. And when you look at the moves that were made at the trade deadline, a lot of teams did exactly what he's talking about. Let's get another center. Let's get another big. And you look out west, man, Dallas is huge. Oklahoma City's huge. Minnesota's huge.
Yeah.
There are some really huge teams out there. Sacramento's huge. Yeah. And so I think it is kind of an interesting concept right now of like, we got to be big at that spot.
I mean, I think when the Nuggets won the championship, they were the biggest team.
Yeah.
Like, they were way bigger than the Lakers, the Suns, obviously way bigger than the Heat. But teams have gone like to another couple degrees since that. Now, like, the top contenders in the West, the Oklahoma Cities of the world, not top contenders, but Dallas, like, you have three bigs.
Yeah.
Like, you have three almost 7-footers that you can rotate on a lot of those teams. So that's his thinking. And I mean, he's probably right, because thinking back to the Nuggets championship run, like, that was a key reason why the Nuggets won. They dominated the paint.
Yeah.
And that seems like what a lot of the focus for some of these top rival teams is right now.
It's funny because like the Warriors set that movement back a really long way, where you're like, oh, you can just be little guys that run around, shoot from the logo, it's fine. And then now it's like going back to like the 80s where you just want big hulking guys to mess up everybody's spacing and like and it's specifically planned for Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, but it's also Naz Reid shoots the three, Chet Holmgren shoots the three. Like, it's different. It's not just two bruisers.
And that is the European influence on the league.
Let's take a break here, though. Let's keep going on this because there's some more good stuff ahead, including a great question Vote asked about how many real guys are left on the roster.
And it is time to talk about our friends at Game Time. I love the Game Time app. I've told you guys about this before. One of my favorite parts about living in Denver, it's the biggest, not so big city in America.
Hell yeah,
and I love that. I love that. When I say big, I want events, man. I want stuff to do. And they've got downtown sports. They've got tons of comedy shows. We've got tons of music venues. Dude. So many things we can do here in Denver. And tons of options while also not feeling like you can't find a spot to breathe, man. What a treat. And sometimes you're having one of those lazy, breathy afternoons and you realize, no kidding, man. The Avs are playing tonight. The Nuggets are playing tonight. It is MVP City. I do want to go see Nathan McKinnon or Nikola Jokic. Well, you can get some of the best seats in the house, even at the last second, just by using Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, and that's a guarantee, folks.
Also, Bet365, it's what we used to bet here at DNVR. You can hit that QR code right there on the screen. You can download the Bet365 app. When you do, use the code DNVR365. Bet365, an official partner of the Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. My favorite thing about Bet365, they have the early payout offer. You're a winner if your team goes up by 20 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Nuggets go up 20 points, boom, you win the bet. Download the app, use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone who knows a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. They also have an open account offer. Win or lose, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Again, win or lose. So sign up, use the code DNVR365 for all those special offers. Bet with us on the pregame show too.
All right, there we go. All right, let's dive right back into this. We got about half of the presser to go. Let's check it out.
It's going to be a battle in the paint. It's going to be really physical.
Kelvin, you mentioned, kind of either making a big move or doing nothing. So had you made a big move, it feels like Michael Porter Jr. would have been a guy involved in that. So
Well, I think a big move in my mind is like adding a significant depth piece. I think we liked everything that was happening in our rotation. So I don't think we weren't close to doing anything with anybody in our rotation. It was going to be, some of the guys that were outside of it, like Dario and Zeke, and using some of our draft assets to bolster our lineup as opposed to like moving a bigger guy like Mike.
So one big note here on this one is the draft capital was on the table for the right piece. And the draft capital is basically their first round pick. I don't think they have anything else. And that, again, just shows you how they view that pick. They view it as, hey, we like what we got. We're close. And if we have to lose a first to bolster that for the 8th guy or 7th guy or even a 6th guy, they'll do it. I just think that's interesting, too. They didn't use it, but it does inform you that this summer, that pick could be out the door.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, their timeline is they are win
right
now. Like, they don't need a bunch of new prospects. They have, though. They've got, 4 or 5 guys that they're looking to usher into that's the Project Dynasty. That's the depth to our depth. So yeah, like they shouldn't be looking at that first round pick as something that they would actually convert into a player. They should be looking to move it into something that can get them the title right now. So I like that thought. I hate that he just like uses Zeke and Dario's names like they're pieces of garbage though. Like that's like,
I'm sure he's had conversations.
I know, but
those guys knew they were.
I know,
maybe
but even
gonna get
still,
moved.
like it's just like that's where it's like too honest.
Yeah.
It's too on. This is like another thing where it's like,
It's funny, man. Like I remember, when Tim Connolly was here, and a lot of people always say, like, "Man, why can't my GM ever like just give me it straight? Like, why can't they just give me the facts?"
So true.
Fact.
And like now, people are mad at Calvin Booth for saying they were potentially trading Zeke, Najee, and Shar. It's like, of course they were.
of course. I mean, that's the thing. Is
Those
like,
guys knew it too.
When you first knew they were going to try to trade Zeke when they signed him to the deal? People are always like, why did you give him $8 million a year? Because that's a perfect tradable contract. If you can't trade him, then it's a bad contract.
Yes.
But you signed him to the deal because it's like, all right, this gives us a middle contract.
And Dario probably wants to be traded at this point. But
They're like, what, me?
Dario's
What
like,
did I do wrong?
Yeah. I thought I was going to play.
Like, I
but-
thought I was gonna break back into the rotation.
Yeah, this wasn't the plan per se.
All right, let's see what's next.
Start of the year, at Media Day, you said you feel like there are 9 real guys on this team. How do you feel like that kind of storyline is tracked and where that number is at now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you just have to watch how Coach Malone utilizes the lineup. It seems like he's played Julian a lot. He's playing 8. I think Julian's been he's had moments that are good, moments that are bad. I think defensively, it's going to be a challenge for him in the playoffs right now. And so hopefully, when if he's getting playoff minutes, he's humming offensively, which hasn't always been there. But like I think, we have. I would call it like it's really difficult to determine our starting lineup, right? So we have 6 or 7 starters, and we have like we have a drop off after that. So, and I think it's not an insult to anybody, to Julian or any of the other guys on the roster, but I just think that's where we're at. I think those 6 or 7 guys have played that well.
So again, very honest, right? First he talks about Julian. I don't think he can play defense. He didn't say this, but I mean, we know what he means. I'm not sure he can defend in the playoffs. Is that a surprise?
No, it's not. We've said it on the show. It is something you hear from your podcasters more than your GMs, I would say, typically. Yeah. And I think part of it is, Kale brought up a great point. You guys know the old Subway meme where it's like, my brother, you made the sandwich. Someone put that out there about Booth's quotes. It's like, yeah, but that's this was your plan. But I mean, I would have wagered Julian knows this. Remarkably ironic in that Julian got the start that night, by the way. Yeah. Unbelievable. But it's true, man. We have talked about it on this show. I think it's probably the line on whatever it is that Booth is trying to toe here with the 2 timelines project. And I don't want to get ahead of myself. There's another quote in there, but maybe the most Booth has ever kind of reflected on that and whatever the line is, as opposed to just, no, this is the way we go. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, it was funny to watch him in real time be like, I should have said that, and be like, I'm not insulting him. I'm just saying he's not good. I mean, but he's not wrong. I mean, this is a double-sided or double-edged sword. It's you do appreciate like that. He's definitely not BSing you. Yeah. But you kind of like sometimes you just want to, especially yesterday when this was before the game, and we're kind of like, where. Is there a plan? Like, what are we doing? Like, you want a little bit of just like, hey, we're in great shape. We've got, I
mean, 7 starters is good shape.
7 starters is good tape.
I would say it's 6.
That's the problem for me.
It's probably 6.
I disagree. I think Peyton Watson filled in for Aaron Gordon when he was out, and I think that's more what he's talking
that's a
about.
Good point, Adam.
And he filled in phenomenally, and they went on a win streak. So
True. Peyton's hurt, so I wasn't thinking about that, but you're right.
Yeah. I mean, and then he said Julian because that's clearly the 8th guy, right? And DeAndre. Yeah. So Julian and DeAndre, he's basically pointing out like, hey, those are the guys that are in the rotation that are probably ideally not, when it matters the most.
But it's interesting. Like, I don't disagree with anything he said. Yeah. At all. Like, I think that truthfully, it's like, okay, yeah, I think we're thinking about this team the way they're thinking about this team, which is good because it sets expectations. You're not like, you watch some of our compatriots in Chicago, like after
AK didn't say anything,
and they're just like seething with anger. Yeah. They're like, "What is this team doing?" And we're like, "We know what they're doing. We know that they wish they had a backup center. It's clear they tried to make a play to get Chris Boucher and it was
maybe Valanciunas
and they clearly were offering those 2 players he mentioned and the pick, and it wasn't enough to get the job done. So that they were trying to get it done." And then the Nuggets play that night, and you're like, we're fine. We're fine.
All right, roll it again. How much more we got, Kale?
2 minutes.
Okay.
In terms of navigating the new CBA, just how did that sort of affect your process, and how do you think that affected around the league this year?
Well, going back from when I took over the job, we had to put together organizationally a team that we felt like they could compete. And that started out by, using some of our future assets to get draft picks to take Peyton Watson, to take Julian. So I think from the start of my tenure here, we haven't been the bank. We've been the person going to the bank and asking for a mortgage. So I think we'd like to get out of that cycle, but also we realize that Joker's time is now, and if the opportunity presents itself to use those assets to really improve our team, I think we're close in a couple of things and feeling that way. This trade deadline, we're going to do that because you got one time, one career with him here, so.
That part of it, just real quickly, I mean, he does seem to understand the urgency, and I know people are going to roll their eyes because they didn't do anything at this deadline. They didn't do anything last summer in terms of KCP, but whether it's Cal or not Cal, depending on whether he is retained or whatever, if it is him, he's at least stating, hey, we know we're getting out of this cycle. Like, we have our young guys, but we know our moves going forward are going to be about the year in which we're in, which is different from the last time he spoke.
Right.
Where he said, we might take a step down before we take a step up. Now he's like, there's no more stepping down.
Right.
Every move we make is about now, and they didn't make one now, but at least that's his stated motivation.
Yeah, because they've been not trading their picks, they've been using their picks.
Yeah.
That's why they have. He expected there to be a step back because they got a bunch of young players.
And there was.
Right. And again, the way that this world works is that if you have a young player like a Julian Strawther, you have a Zeke Naji, guys that are on the bench have a perceived value that is less than a pick. Like, picks mean so much more than a player to GMs in every league. It's in the NFL everywhere. It's like the idea of a pick is like it's just like so tantalizing versus like getting a Jalen Pickett or a Hunter Tyson or a guy that's like, these are that's actually better. This is a year in it's just how it works. Like,
there's a line in The Big Short where he's like, I'm not wrong, I'm just early. And he goes, that's the same thing. Like, out of an investment. And Cal, I think his whole thing was, we'll take a step back because we need Peyton and Julian and CB to season a little, but then they'll be ready this year. And it's like, are they? And it's like, well, I'm not wrong because those guys are projecting to all be this, but I might have been on it for the timeline. It's like, well, same thing, because we're now in year 2 of this plan, and it doesn't, feel like the Nuggets are where we expected them to be. All right, keep it going.
Being active on the buyout market, or are the options there to kind of not enough to add something to the rotation?
It just depends on what it is. I think ownership is open to any conversation. Obviously, we're limited because we're above the first apron, so we're going to be limited in the guys we can look at. But we'll see who comes on the buyout market, and we'll have those conversations as it comes.
Was there any conversation about trying to get under that first apron to open up some of that flexibility?
Yeah, I think more so we're focused on there were some impact guys that moved, so that were way better than guys on the buyout market. So I think that in the deals we would have done, I don't think it would have allowed us to. I mean, it was an option. Do we go get a guy in the trade market, or do we just get below and try to get one of these guys that's potentially going to be in the buyout market that made above a certain number? So.
Calvin, have you had discussions with ownership about the contract extension where your personal future's at?
No, I'm just focused on the team right now. So I'm focused on the team, and that stuff will take care of itself.
One more question?
Alrighty, cool. All right, so, there you go. I do think it's interesting. I told you going into the deadline, my final thought was, I kind of just think they should duck the tax. Just because I'm worried about this repeat. I'm worried about the Cronkies, and they've spent a little bit lately, but I'm worried about them a year from now being like, we're not being a repeater team more than 1 or 2 years, and now we need to get under. And you build a team that can actually contend, but they're saying to cut money. So this year, if you could have done it, it'd be like, great, but wasn't how it played out. All in all, now that we've talked through it, because first of all, did you guys see Nurkic obviously gets traded, and Phoenix did the thing where they did the thank you Nurk, but everyone hates Nurk. And the comments below are just killing him.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Well, Cal's presser was the same. Up on ours, every comment is just like vitriol. And I sit back and watch it, and I understand he was very honest. And he did build a team that is flawed in many ways, made some decisions that didn't work. So the vitriol comes from there. But when I watch this, I go, you're mad because he was too honest? I just am not as bothered by it. I disagree with him with the stuff he said, by the way. So it's not even, I don't think they should have got a backup center. I thought they should keep KCP. Yeah. There's a lot of decisions he's made that I'm like, I'm just not into that.
Yeah, I don't think people are mad at him for being too honest. I think people just get trapped in this idea of there being little competitions you can win along the way. You can win the offseason. You can win the trade deadline. It's like when there's something happening, it's like, why aren't we doing this? Yeah. Why aren't we winning right now? This team definitely has issues that have come from not having picks but having guys.
Yeah, yeah.
That is something that I think will set this team up for success in the future. But you have said this many times, and I agree with you. I'm the best. No, I'm just kidding. You've never said that. That people don't really understand what this new collective bargained era of tax and repeater and aprons actually means in practice. Like you kind of like understand the idea of like, oh, just go get in the second apron, whatever. We're going to see what it looks like for like the Boston Celtics or something. Like if it comes to the point where they actually need to get a guy and they're not able to.
Right.
And I think that I believe that Calvin Booth, whether he is being asked to by the Cronkies because of monetary issues, or he's just trying to be cautious and judicious in his movement to give them as much flexibility as possible, is like actually trying to navigate it in a thoughtful way. But it does not always square with we have to do this right now because we have Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people were mad that he was too honest and that he named Zeke Naji in
Well,
charge.
yeah.
People were, I mean, I saw people upset about that. And again, I don't really mind that. I would rather he come out and say it instead of leaving us to guess.
yeah,
That's how I feel too.
Because
man.
that's what we would do. I guess-
Those guys knew they were on the trade market. Like,
of course.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, I do think like people love to point at like the missteps they think Cal has made along the way, like the Reggie Jackson thing and giving up 3 second rounders to get rid of him, and it's just like that's what it costs to get rid of Reggie Jackson. If he was still on the team, they wouldn't have Russell Westbrook right now. And
Yeah, but that was the cost of giving him a player option, right?
yes.
right, and I mean maybe you had to do that to get him on the buyout market.
yeah,
so
like-
it all goes back to that maybe, and you can say that was the wrong decision.
Sure.
But I mean, I think what Cal has done from the second he took the job has been pretty clear. Like he has surrounded the core of this team with the complementary pieces that he thinks they need, and I think he cleaned up a lot of Tim's mess in that regard too. Like Tim did not leave this team in a championship mode in terms of the role players they had. You know, Cal had to bring in KCP. He brought in Bruce Brown. He brought in Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, like a defensive first guys. The roster did not have that when he took over. So that's been his mindset. And I think a lot of the guys he's brought in, have fit the mold of, the championship pieces you need around the Nuggets core four. Maybe they just some of those guys haven't developed as quickly as he thought they might have.
My biggest take on Cal is he doesn't have much charisma in the way that some GMs do. He doesn't have that presence, and he's a little monotone. He's a big guy.
That Palinka vibe.
Yeah, Palinka. Yeah. I mean, honestly, but there are some GMs that are just charismatic as hell, and they can sit up there and tell you they screwed things up in a way that you're kind of like, oh man, this guy's amazing. Cal doesn't, and it's just you can't fake it. You either have that or don't.
What really happened was, in people's eyes, he messed up the deadline, and then it's pretty hard to have a good presser from there, and Calvin's not going to be a guy that salvages that.
Yeah.
But
Just do it as it is.
it's funny, man. We wear two hats on this show, right? We are fans. We wear that on our sleeves. We're also media members. And like, as a media member, it's really refreshing to be able to sit here and relay to you exactly what Calvin was thinking, right or wrong.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's move on. Our final segment now. The Nuggets have... No, let's plug our shirt. We got a new shirt here. Oh, Eric's here. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
MVP City, listen, we cannot stop getting the best players in their league. We can't stop doing it.
Yeah.
We got Travis Hunter. He won the Heisman. Maybe you've heard of him. Nathan McKinnon. He won the MVP for the NHL.
Hat trick last night in one period.
Have you heard of Nikola Jokic?
have.
Nikola Jokic has won the MVP. We cannot.
Triple-double, three-quarters.
Yes, we got the Defensive Player of the Year last night with Pat Surtain, PS2. We cannot stop producing the MVPs. This is MVP City. It's time to rep it. Let's go.
Yeah. Also, it's just a gorgeous shirt.
It is gorgeous.
So
Adam said he helped design that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember I told you?
Yeah,
how to do
I
it?
was like, oh, what do I do? And you're like, why don't you take the logo you made for us and then turn it? And I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Well, no, I made the logo too.
Right,
You don't remember
right,
that?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he drew it.
On the back of a napkin. I was like, hey, that's it. That's us. We're going to call it DNVR. All right, guys. So the Nuggets have tested out a lot of menu items this year. Peanut butter and jelly, bread and butter,
Delicious.
peanut butter and marshmallow.
A lot of struggle meals.
Bologna and honey.
Bologna and honey, I think was
Ramen.
one.
Ramen.
But we got to, after the All-Star break is when it's like, all right, we've played a lot of different styles, but who are we? Let's all focus in, and this is who we are. So I have asked Kale to put together a menu for the Denver Nuggets here that features some main entrees, a couple side dishes, and maybe some seasonal dishes. Not on the menu all the time, but, it is good to have them seasonally. So if we look at this, Jokic Murray two-man game, here's the big thing. There was a period in time where you really wondered, was the core of the Nuggets Murray Yoke or is it Russ Yoke? What is the core of it? I think Russ being out has been nice, honestly, for the Nuggets to kind of try to build this Jamal Murray two-man game. I think this one's kind of easy. I still think this is your main entree. Is you're still at your heart a Jokic Murray two-man game team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's still the core of this team for sure.
I agree. I mean, Westbrook's been an amazing addition. I think attacking playoff defense is a little different than just whipping the ball around throughout the regular season, which Russ is elite at right now. But Murray's also a threat to score, and when it comes to the two-man game against elite defenses, that matters.
Don't even make options, Kale. We should just put what's on the main menu. And I think we might have more main dishes, because here's another one. I'm going to skip around a little bit. Aggressive Mike. Where does aggressive? Because lately we've had aggressive Mike, and it's been awesome. And you start to wonder, Mike never scores 40 because we scores 30. They win by 20. So why don't we have aggressive Mike all the time and just win?
Great question. I think Mike answered it last night, and I think I finally come to peace with it, fellas. I mean, this is a side dish for this team. It is. Now, look, if Mike could stay aggressive all the time, that's the best version of this team, right?
Yeah.
That's not the easiest thing to do as a third option. That's just life as a third option. That's been Mike's lot in Denver. It's on him to in this never-ending quest to find the right balance.
Yeah.
But what Mike said last night, man, is I play on a really good team. And like sometimes there's more sustainable offense for them to achieve than just Mike getting hot. He knows that. It's built around Jokic. There's another world in which aggressive Mike is a different player than people realize, I think. But on the Denver Nuggets, he seems to understand there will be a scaling back.
Do you guys both agree with this? Is there any world where aggressive Mike is a main course?
I mean, did we get aggressive Mike in the Lakers series, or was that just super efficient Mike?
I think super efficient.
I thought he was aggressive.
Okay.
I thought he went and got the ball.
Well, I mean, if you're saying that, I would put it main entree then.
Cool, let's do it. Bump it up.
I mean, that's really the question, because like in a playoff game, the Joker Jamal two-man game, that's a main entree. And like, if you could envision Mike being this version of himself, and if he was this version of himself in the Lakers series, it would seem potentially like a main entree.
Yeah, I was going to say this is like very seemingly matchup dependent.
Yes.
So it's hard to say it's necessarily a main entree, but it is sometimes a main entree.
Right.
It is a seasonally dependent main entree.
Rotating menu.
Yeah, like a squash. Yeah, it's a seasonal item.
You think it's seasonal?
I mean,
I
listen,
think Eric's
like,
right about matchups to this
but
point.
it's just like, yeah, but it's as effective and as dangerous as any other punch that the Nuggets have to give. If Mike is knocking down shots like that and getting that number of shots, and people are looking for him, it's obviously, again, like been 3 games. There's been sort of a something you can write off in each one of them. But like when that ball goes through that net and it's so pure, and the man looks confident and comfortable, and it gets him to do other things, and then he's rebounding, and it's just, to me, it's like hard to say it's a main entree because they're not looking for it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Right,
it's like,
right.
but it is something that is so lethal.
It's nachos.
Yeah.
It's a side dish.
It's Adam's favorite thing.
But sometimes you're like, you know what? I'm just going to get the nachos.
Yeah,
That's a
I
big-
think it's side dish.
I think it's a side. I just
you
can't.
don't get nachos every night.
You don't get it every
a
night.
lot- yeah.
It'd be awesome.
There are some
But
times
when you get it, you're like, oh, I kind of want that every night.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of want that every
I
night.
think we want it to be a main entree, guys,
I
but the
think it is too.
reality
I was
is
playing
it's-
devil's advocate
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Fast breaking. Nuggets are a great fast breaking team. Is this something? Is this a side dish, a main entree, a seasonal dish? Like, is this a thing that's got to be the core? Because the Nuggets have not been a fast break team. This year, they're a super fast break team.
Yeah, I think it's a main entree of this team. Absolutely.
They have
with
to be
Russell
able to get
Westbrook
out.
on it, with Christian Braun starting.
Okay.
I think it's a main entree.
See, the tough thing about this is that we know that this does not translate to the playoffs. That is,
Statistically, that's overstated, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, statistically, I've watched it happen.
You're an eye test guy.
Dude, I'm all heart and side dishes. You know that. I'm all nachos and love. But
That's a great D-line description.
but I don't know that you can say that is going to be what we focus on the most when it comes to the postseason. In the regular season, that might even be higher than the Murray Jokic two-man game. That has been the one thing that they've done
true.
every single game. and they are leading the league in fast break points, and it's how the Nuggets traditionally have played, but it's like not really been the hallmark of any of the Jokic-led Nuggets. So I don't know what to say for that. That to me, that's seasonal.
Seasonal. I think it's a side.
Regular
I think
season.
it's a side dish because I think you take it when it comes. You take it when it's available to you. So to me, it's not the core piece of it.
I don't even know, what are we figuring out?
A menu.
I really love how loose it defined it is. It's the best part.
It's also taking a little longer. All right, here's a big one. Ball is popping. My favorite Nuggets are the ball is popping this year. 30+ assists on average, one of the highest of all time. The two-man game sometimes doesn't work with that, but is this another main course or is this a side dish?
I think main entree.
I agree, Anderson.
Absolutely.
Ball is popping Nuggets. This should be a better ball is popping team than 2023, which was a very heavy Murray Jokic two-man.
I do think
team.
a lot of the assist numbers is just like, oh, Westbrook has a ton of assists to Jokic
Of
in
course.
the two-man game, and I don't know if
They
that's
count.
Yeah, they
but
do
I
count.
don't know if that's like the definition of the ball is popping for this team.
All it takes sometimes is one extra guy getting the ball
Yeah.
popping. So I'll count it. I agree, though. I think it's a main dish. This team cannot be as two-man game as the previous ones because there are guys
Right.
like Westbrook who don't have a role in that. He's not KCP. He's not standing on the wing knocking down threes. So ball is popping needs to be a little bit more than what we've seen in the past. I think it's absolutely a main dish.
Used to be a side dish. This
Yeah.
year it's a main dish.
Jokic Westbrook two-man game.
Side.
I think it's main entree as well.
Whoa.
I am with Harrison.
Two-man games?
Can that coexist is the big question.
Can you
No, but you have to be able to pick it perfectly.
Okay.
You have to be
Wait,
able
was
to know.
that-
pick it?
Yeah, hang on.
Careful.
I heard it too, Eric. First thing I heard.
Oh my god! You have to be able to pick your spots of prayer.
Right.
You have to play pick it.
I thought when the Nuggets were on that win streak that they were on, right before the losing streak they went on, I thought that the dynamic there was perfect. You'd get a Murray quarter and a Westbrook quarter in perfect rhythm, and then it fell out. But to me, this is a main dish. I don't think the Nuggets can win a title if Westbrook is out a non-impact player. I think because they don't have enough guys. They don't have an option you can go to outside them. They only have 6.5. Westbrook's one of them. You got to have that as one of your main courses, even if it's not your featured dish.
Interesting. I still don't know what any of this means. So, they...
Main entree is how I'm taking it as something that is present every game.
Every
That
game, yeah.
is
It's
part
like
of their core identity.
something that they want to have happen. Like when
Every
the Nuggets
game.
describe themselves, they
Yeah.
say we're the Jokic two-man game and a
Right.
little chicken piccata.
At least one of these things has to be hitting.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, it's got to be bussin'. All right, cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Booty ball.
seasonal.
Thanks for asking, Adam.
Totally
It's
seasonal.
off the menu half the year.
It's totally seasonal.
love
But
that you put
you
this
know
in-
what?
Yeah, dude. That's
There's
the,
it's seasonal as in it's 2 weeks a year.
It's like the McRib.
Yeah.
The
As in
McRib. Oh, the
this
McRib's
season.
back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
you got a
this-
couple weeks to get it. before
it's
coming.
on the secret menu. You can ask for it.
Hey, man, but you know what?
Secret menu.
When
We're
it's
we're
in
gonna-
season.
Kind of Adam's thing anyway.
What's in season, man? I'm
We're
having a
yeah,
great time.
We're gonna run our offense animal style.
AG at center.
Probably side dish.
No, he just said it's a main entree. That's what Calvin just said. Is that they're not counting on DeAndre Jordan to be the
Yeah.
guy. They're looking for AG. I mean, I don't like that it's a main entree. It's been very effective, but I think what you said earlier. That every other team is just getting bigger and bigger is going to make this.
And
less-
also, maybe you can say AG has gotten hurt because he's had to play center.
Yeah, it might be. This is a weird one because it's either a main entree or a seasonal dish because I think you're got to not do it till the postseason. So that's why I would make my rationale.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
this is all kind of a weird one. Zeke the Freak.
I mean,
What?
it's a seasonal.
Probably seasonal.
It's a seasonal
All
dish.
right, he's down there in booty ball zone.
I mean, Booty Ball saying it's a seasonal dish might be doing some work.
All right, what about Julian Strawther's shot selection? Right now, Strawther lets it fly. Is this just part of who they are? What is this? It's either side dish or a seasonal dish, I guess.
I don't even know what this. I still don't understand this.
Going with the structure of this segment, I'll say side dish because I don't think it's seasonal for Julian. I
Are
think
we going to tweet this out?
Yeah, we gotta tweet it
Well,
out.
of course, yeah.
How many instructions do we have to give so that people understand what this
You
means?
don't have to at all.
none. Don't provide any context.
See, I even think this one to me is seasonal in that Julian coming out of the All-Star break, to me, he takes bad shots, man. And it's kind of what has been asked of him. I think coming out of the All-Star break, I would look at Julian and say, hey, now take only the shots you're going to take if it were a playoff game. See if you can learn to do that.
Okay.
Because when you get in there, I don't want you taking the 30-footer with 18 on the clock when Yoke's on the court. That's no longer a shot. I'm glad you explored it. We wanted you to explore it, but now we need you to shoot 40% by cutting out the toughest 20% of your attempts.
See, there should be a dessert section. There should be things that's like, if it's going well, we got Strawther going off.
What about a drink
We got
area?
we got a double
Drink
scoop
menu.
of booty ball.
Double scoop.
There's our menu. There's our menu. Let us know what you think. I didn't even put DeAndre minutes on there because what are we doing?
I'd say it's
Let's say
side
it.
dish.
Oh,
All right, do it. DeAndre minutes, side dish.
This year,
This year it's a side dish. You thought it would be seasonal, but it stuck around. They
I
just
think
had it on there.
ideally it would be seasonal, but it's been a side dish.
It's kind of like how we still have Christmas ale downstairs.
Exactly.
Christmas ale
The
at the
mini
bar.
can.
Somebody's ordering
hang
that
on,
for
guys.
Valentine's
When you
Day.
look at it, DeAndre Minutes can't be in there with fast break and aggressive mic.
You're so right. He's a seasonal dish. Come on. Get out. That's definitely not a side dish. You're right. Come on. Get him down
Although
there.
to Eric's point,
It also doesn't make
it's
sense.
really up to you.
All right, we got any super chats? That was kind of fun.
I loved it.
Kinda, yeah.
I loved
I would,
it.
I would put that on the seasonal. That's
I
a,
put that segment on the seasonal dish.
yeah, that's a seasonal bit.
Maybe an off-season. No, I'm just kidding. Super Senior Lobo 92. Everyone says Zeke is always in the gym, but may I ask what kind of gym?
Dude, I'll say that. Keep reading it.
He might be athletic, but it seems like he does not touch a ball in such gym. He has no basketball skill at all. He does try on defense, though.
I honestly don't know if touch can be taught, man. Yoke has incredible touch. I know he's worked on it, but there are a lot of players that work on their game, never become three-point shooters, never have touch. And
Yeah.
Zeke's one of them.
like Zeke is in the weight room, definitely. There's a story from a couple years ago where Michael Malone hung up a picture of Zeke Naji,
Before and after.
his body, I am sure shirtless,
Whoa.
before the offseason and after the offseason as a motivating factor of how you could transform.
I love that.
Over
and
a
everyone's
summer?
like, Jesus, I'm not getting in that shit. I want to play.
He also works with, Mike Penberthy. He's shooting
he
nonstop.
probably gets up, if you believe it, like more shots than anybody else on the team, potentially. That's what Mike said the other night. So he is in the basketball gym and the weightlifting gym a lot.
Good context. Invisible Predator 999. I appreciate the name update. It is a
That is more
step in the right
appropriate. More
direction.
appropriate for.
Is it?
It's a bit better.
Invisible Predator
Invisible better
999.
than Playboy?
You know what?
It's more descriptive of.
It's getting darker and darker.
Invisible Predator
It's
feels
an
like
adjacent move that I appreciate.
Invisible Predator feels like if he was given the opportunity to choose if he could fly or become invisible, he would become an invisible predator. He would be like in the shower.
No,
and
dude,
stuff.
that's the movie with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
He goes he
Hollow Man?
Yeah, Hollow Man.
That was a good
rapes
one.
women. Yeah, very
Yeah, that was a
strange.
good one. The Invisible Predator.
Anyway, Cedric says Eric equals Shaq, Wind equals Kenny, Kale equals Chuck, Vote equals Ernie.
All right.
How did I get Ernie?
Kale is turns out the Kale is the heart of the show.
Senior Lobo 92. P.S. Give me some more Pickett.
Telling you, man, he's so weird. He's so fun. I love
Dude,
it.
the Pickett
Only
stands.
seasonal.
It's a long
seasonal.
season.
That's in season.
Cedric X, Exquisite, Vote, 10 wins in a row. Hey, don't ask me, ask Harrison, who predicted a big streak that I shot down.
Yeah.
So shout
No,
out
he
Harrison.
did, but he's telling Win not to jinx it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Harrison, sit down, man. Josh Barnett from Down Under. Fact. Colorado rules.
MVP City, baby.
What a pander job from our friend
I know,
Down Under.
dude. I know. I thought they only had koala bears. It turns out they have panda bears
They
down
have
there
drop
too.
bears. Do you know about drop bears?
Drop
Pander
bears? That sounds
Drop
terrifying.
bears.
They're
an
also getting an NBA game in Australia.
That is awesome. We're going.
Wait, are they?
Yes.
Yeah, I think next year.
Oh, NBA. I thought it
maybe
was just
2 years.
NFL.
I think. Or was that NFL?
Dude, if
NFL.
we got Nuggets down there, please
I
give
think
us
it
the
might be
Nuggets in
NBA.
Australia.
I wouldn't be surprised, but the NFL is most assuredly going.
Yeah, let's go anyway.
Hey, Wind. This is
Hey.
Kyle. Shout out, Kyle. Senior Lobo 92. What is better, your GM saying that Strawther may not be good in the playoffs, or Luka not being championship caliber? Hashtag almost all the Nuggets are good. It's an important,
Yeah, it's tough.
perspective.
I mean, one is maybe correct, one isn't.
For sure.
Yeah, one is like very short-sighted. I won't tell you which one it is.
And shout out to our great Alaskan homie, Harlow
Oh, man.
Robinson. 6 or 7 starters at DNVR too. Adam, analyst.
Why is it-
Harrison, reporter. Kale, producer. D-line, artist. Miroslav, professor. Brendan, poet.
Whoa.
Superstar dev.
Prophet.
Appreciate you all. Real guys.
Oh man, that was a great
That was
one,
an
man.
all-timer, man.
So also, you notice this is a format now for Super Chat.
I
you
was
know?
just going to
You
say,
just name a person. That
I was
just
gonna- I was
like-
gonna say
Set
that-
that up,
Legacy.
Kale.
I would say the invisible predator has infected the chat.
I know we're back tomorrow, and I know that Saturday is still part of this week, but I've never been more happy for a week to be over. Super
Long
Bowl
week.
and trade deadline. You guys have no
Also,
idea how exhausting
Disagree
this
with
week
it goes
was.
forever.
Buzzer beater. Dude, buzzer beater. Bones got waived.
I
told you guys.
Bones got
What's
waived by
happening?
Atlanta. Bones is now available on the buyout market.
I don't think
Could
he'll
he
be
be-
coming to Denver.
Could he be bought out for a salmon burger?
Oh man,
Damn. Too soon.
it's too soon, man. It's too soon. But not for Nurk. Everybody go check out the Phoenix Suns' tweet and all the comments. It was hilarious. Have yourself a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.